What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where you already know we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We promise not to disappoint you. Hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. Anybody that wants the audio book, hit us up at freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. If you want a softcover book, you can hit us up for that autographed copy at the same email, freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. So today we're going to talk a little bit about people being victimized in prison. After that video yesterday, there were a lot of comments. A lot of people want answers. How could he become a blood? How did he, allow that dude to do this? How did that dude do that? We're going to answer all of that stuff, man. We're going to talk about what happens in the penitentiary. And we're going to talk about what it's like when a dude like that comes in and how people victimize them, how people use people. You've seen all the prison movies. And that shit really happens. That stuff came true for that kid, right? And remember in that video, he was like, I used to laugh at the videos. And I used to say, man, that would never happen to me. Everybody that watches that video, when you used to come into the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they used to have this video, right? From the director. It was like an old ass video from like 1985. The dude puts a candy bar on the dude's bed and they teach you not to take the candy bar. You all heard that bullshit ass story, right? So those are the videos that he's talking about, and where dudes are going to victimize you. Just say no. Well, sometimes, man, when you're locked in that cell, what can you do? Me personally, as the thumbnail says, I would never do what that dude did, right? But I'm not trying to belittle him or knock him, but I'm trying to teach people something right now, right? Everybody that walks into the penitentiary is not a tough guy. Everybody that walks into the penitentiary is not built like that. There are dudes that come in there, man, and they play a part. Some dudes come in there, man, too hard for the yard. Those were the dudes that I was always like, man, this dude's a clown, man. And I'm going to give you an example, right? And this kid ended up becoming my friend. We're outside, we're in Raybrook, we're working out one day on the pull-up bar. There's this kid that comes in. He's from Buffalo, and he starts hitting us with the war stories, man. Man, I just came from USP Canaan. He's talking all this bullshit, right? Like trying to make dudes be like, yo, man, dude just came from the pen, man. Well, most of us, well, not most of us, but a lot of us have also been to the penitentiary. But he is not realizing that dudes are coming from the penitentiary to this FCI just like he did. Yo, I was at USP Canaan. I was over there, man. And I'm just listening to him. I'm listening to him. And then I say something to him to the effect of like, yeah, man, I just did 10 years in the penitentiary too. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I was in Big Sandy, man. Yeah, I was in USP Polar. Yeah, I was in all those dangerous places, man. Some of the pens you're talking about being in, like Allenwood, it's a penitentiary, but it ain't really jumping like that. So I just kind of wanted to let the kid know, like, hey, man, you don't have to talk like that. And I told him, man, we're not impressed with your stories, man. Just be you. Don't be a pretend tough guy. And you see a lot of pretend tough guys in prison. And one of them pretend tough guys was the dude that he talked about yesterday, Steve. Steve was kind of I don't want to say a fake tough guy because he was kind of tough. He would stand up for himself. But I had heard something about him that he had did in transit before. And then when I talked to this kid and he says his name, I didn't know who it was before we got on the video. When he said his name on the video, I'm like, damn, man. I had heard about this cat doing this stuff before, right? And I had ran into him in another prison in an FCI. I knew that he had a girl. I believe he had kids or stepkids. I was trying to remember while we were on the video. But sometimes when you walk into prison, and I don't want to say this in a bad way or a bad light to my boy yesterday, right? But you got different caliber of people. Some people say, oh man, this dude's a goofball. Oh, this dude's a dummy. Oh, this dude's about that business. This dude's a tough guy. And I think that kid came in at 21 years old, like he said, young, from Maine. Look, man, let's just keep it real. The kid's from Maine. He grew up probably in a good household. He talked about his parents. I've seen his pictures on his Facebook page. So that dude wasn't ready, man, for the penitentiary. And some people are like, well, why would they send him to a pen? Because the Federal Bureau of Prisons is sometimes nasty. They will take a young kid and send you to the penitentiary. I've seen young kids in there 18, 19 years old with 5 or 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. I've seen one of them kids from the Baltimore thing when he was down there burning everything down. Kid was like 16 when he did all that stuff, right? 17. And they sent him to Raybrook, a place that some people qualified as a mini pen. So the Federal Bureau of Prisons, man, if you're watching this video and you're out here committing federal crimes, don't think for a minute that they won't put you on that bus to the big house. They will definitely put you on that bus. They don't care that you're a little white kid from Maine. They don't care that you're a little white kid from Maine or Vermont. They don't care about that stuff. They don't care about you're a 16-year-old kid, black kid, and you grew up out here in Penfield, New York. They don't care about that stuff. They don't look at that stuff. They need a bed. They're going to send you where they got a bed open at. Send you into a dungeon. So this kid goes into the cell with this dude. Dude's probably playing him, man. Like, man, kid's from Maine. Maybe he's got a couple dollars. His parents might be looking out. And then one night, he gets up out of bed. He's been thinking about this, right? And they don't have saltpeter in there like people. Some people think they got saltpeter in prison, and they don't. I think maybe back in the old days they might have, right? In the state prison system. This dude wakes up, but he's been plotting on this kid, man. He's been thinking about it, but now you're locked in a cell. So now you're locked in this cell, and there's no way out. 2 a.m. What's up, man? And you're like, what do you mean? What's up? He's like, come here, man, get down. He's got a knife in his hand. And he tells the kid, look, man, this is what it is, and this is what you're going to do. What would you have done in that moment, right? People are like, you can't judge them. You don't know until you're in that situation. I can tell you what I would have did in that situation. And some people can call it what they want to call it, right? And this doesn't make him less of a man because he did what he did. Just people are built differently. I'm definitely not doing what he did. We're going to be fighting in that cell. It's one-on-one. I'm confident, right? I'm not the baddest motherfucker in the world. I get my ass whooped too. But I'm confident in my hand game. I really am. I'm definitely going to be fighting this cat. 2 a.m. The police are usually in the office. You call it what you want to call it. We're fighting. We're banging. Boom, 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 boom. The cops are going to come. Trust me. When there's fighting going on, the cops do come in the federal penitentiary. They come. They hit them deuces. The cops are there. Look, man. I'm going to be like, hey, this is what, all right, man, hold on, man, hold on. And I'm like, all right, just once, boom, and I'm going to blast this dude and hope that first punch is the punch. And once I blast him, I'm trying to get that knife. I'm trying to get his knife. I'm trying to get that wrist control. I got his wrist. I got that knife. And Steve is a much bigger dude than this kid was. He's a young kid. But some people don't have the heart. They're scared. You just walked into federal prison. All the stories that you heard about, that little video that you watched when you first got to prison, and you and all the young dudes that were in there were laughing. And you were laughing because you were uncomfortable. You weren't laughing because you thought it was funny. You were laughing because deep in your heart, you were thinking, damn, I hope that never happens to me. Man, that would never happen to me, homie. The other dude next to you is like, man, that would never happen to me either. And don't think that this just happens to white kids, right? Little scary ass white kids from Maine. This shit happens to black kids too. And I had that guest on that was at Lee County with us. And we talked about the kid. I want to say he was from New Orleans or he was from Carolina. And they called him Money. And if he's watching the video, maybe he'll hit us up and come on the show. But I know that the dude that was victimizing him was one of them tough guys on the yard. Yo, what's up? Bald head black kid from New Orleans. Yo, what's good? Yo, he's out here hustling, acting like he's a tough guy. He's on the gambling table. He's the last dude in the world that you would think would be in a cell trying to victimize someone. But this dude was victimizing this kid named Money. And Money had finally had enough. He waited for the move, walked outside, had a lock on a sock, got in front of the police shack. And I'm going to tell you something about this. He got in front of the police shack and he waxed the dude with the lock. Bang, bang, bang. What do you think the black kid from New Orleans was that was victimizing him? He got hit in the head with that lock. He was laid out and dude was yelling. Man, he's been doing this to me. He's been making me suck his, and he's hitting the dude. And the cops are like, hey, hey. And he's just screaming this shit, man. Because he had finally had enough. He had enough of being victimized, man. This stuff happens in prison. This isn't just the shit you see in movies. This isn't the shit they play videos that say, hey, if this happens to you. They got those videos because that stuff really happens. But when you're locked in that cell and you're a young kid, you're too light to fight, too thin to win. Some people say, man, look, man, I guess I just gotta. Yeah. And even some of the dudes that come in here that think they're tough guys. The kid Money, let me tell you a little more about him. Gold teeth, nice white G-Shock watch. He's on the yard too, like he's that dude. Young kid, yo, getting money. Think he was hustling a little bit. Some little chap skip that was a little caps off chapstick. He was out there getting a couple dollars. He's cool. He's kicking it with the New Orleans dude. I'm almost positive this kid was from North Carolina. He's kicking it with the dude. That's his boy. They're cool. Next thing he knows, yo, man, you might as well move in with me, homie. He moves him in, but the whole time he's been laying the plot down. Acting like he's cool, like he's his friend. He's laying it down. And the next thing you know, they're locked in the cell. He's like, yo, man, you ever do anything with a guy before? I'm like, what the? Nah, bro, I'm good. And dude's like, nah, you're not good. This is how it's going down. And when the dude's got a knife on you, you're in a dangerous situation. You're like, damn, man, how can I get out of this situation? And the kid Money, he let the dude abuse him. And then I think it was building him up. He was embarrassed. He didn't want to tell no one. So he stayed in that situation, probably for a month or two. He stayed in that situation for a month or two. Just like, damn, man. And then finally he was like, yo, as soon as I get an opportunity, I'm going to get in front of the police. Some people in prison call it a check-in move, right? People are like, man, that's a check-in move. Man, you call it what you want to call it. But I'm going to make a move to make sure I don't end up dead right here. And I'm going to do something to this dude. This dude's going to pay for what he did. And that was the difference between the white kid and Money. Money was like, man, I'm getting this dude back. The white kid was like, man, he just sucked it up. Man, I don't mean to say it like that. What I mean is, you got a dirty mind. What I mean is, he was like, look, man, he accepted it, man. He accepted it, and dude eventually goes to the hole and gets transferred. But maybe if the dude stuck around, maybe he would have done something to him. Maybe he would have hit him with a lock. Maybe he would have had enough. And I think that there's a lot of embarrassment that goes with that. Crushes your pride. And you're like, nah, bro. And I'm a revengeful person, man. If you do something to me, I always want to do something back to you. I got to get you back, man. And like I think I talked about this before, where the lieutenant or the sergeant in the state handcuffed me behind my back, punched me in the face. And I always want to get this dude back for what he did to me, man. That's the one time that someone did something to me that I can never get him back for, man. And sometimes when I think about it, it still burns me up. And all he did was punch me in the face. So I can only imagine what dude was thinking. What is he thinking now? The white kid, man, never got this dude back. He's got to live with that. Maybe he's at a Boston Red Sox game and he sees Stevie somewhere. Maybe he just cracks him. If I was him, I would, man. I know I'm supposed to preach all good stuff on here and not going back to jail, but I would crack that dude, man. If I seen him at a Red Sox game or a Patriots game, boom. And now some people want to know how he became blood and why didn't his car do anything. So let me tell you about what would have happened with him, all right? First, in Big Sandy or in Canaan, I don't know, man, what was going on back then at Canaan. Canaan was kind of, at the time that he went to Canaan, I want to say that Canaan was transitioning from an FCI, because it was an FCI originally. It was a USP, but an FCI, where they're just putting beds in there. And then they start transitioning people out and bringing in the real gangsters, right? The guys with all the time. And I think that's what was happening at the time when he was at Canaan, that it was transitioning. It wasn't really a hardcore pen. Because I'm just going to keep it real with you. When you're white and you come to a federal prison and you're like, look, I just checked in over there. They're like, what? Oh, okay, homie, don't trip. Especially in our car. When I say our car, it's an East Coast car. It's a Boston, New York car. We usually stick together. You don't let that stuff go. That stuff's not allowed. So what do? We don't tell you, hey, you got to leave again. We don't, man. That's not how the penitentiary works. Because if you do stuff like that, they see the weakness in you, other cars. Man, them dudes are clowns, man. And the penitentiary perpetrates violence, man. Vicious violence. You've heard the stories. So you have to be violent. You have to set the tone. If your car is not setting the tone, what's going to happen? Other people are like, man, them dudes ain't shit, man. Dudes are soft. So if he had came there and said he checked in, he would have been gone anyway, right away. He probably wouldn't have been around for Steve to victimize him. Now let's assume or say that old boy came to the prison and he didn't check in. He's in the cell with Steve. Steve gets a little risky on a Saturday night. And he does what he does. And the kid comes out the next day and he goes to the shot caller. Say he goes to Adam, right? He's like, oh, Adam, man, listen, man. Adam would be like, what? Okay, don't trip. We got it. And the plot would be in. Like Steve would leave that day. He'd come out to the yard, be like, yo, listen, man, this is what we got going on. Adam wouldn't want the dude to find out. None of us would. So we'd be like, look, man, this is what it is. We need 2 or 3 guys. We need 2 hitters, 3 hitters. And they're going to hit this dude. And for a violation like that, the order probably would have been to stab the shit out of him and lock him, right? Because now you just violated one of the homies. Yeah, the kid's from Maine, but we had an East Coast car. We had dudes from Maine in our car. We had dudes from Vermont in our car. Dudes from Boston. Dudes from New York. Dudes from Lowell, Mass. That's just how it works. So he was one of the homies. And one of the other homies victimized him. And we would have smashed him. And every prison that Steve went to after that, the Boston homies would have smashed him every prison he went to eventually. He would have ended up to probably an FCI. He would have sat in the hole for a year, but he would have got smashed. But that was the problem with this white kid. He didn't go tell the shot caller. Oh, I'll go tell the shot caller, man, dude, be snitching in jail. Listen, man, this is how this shit works in your car, man. You'd be surprised how many dudes in every car, like, yo, man, yo, the homie's getting high, man, he didn't pay his bill, yo, we gotta, and things happen. And the white kid, right, the kid yesterday, Matt, what would have happened to him if he would have told Adam, like, yo, I had to, skin flute it. Yeah, not to disrespect this kid because he was victimized, and that shit is wrong, man. I don't promote that shit, man. But this kid right here, he would have been out of there too. But why? Why would he have been out of there? Because at that moment in time in his life, his heart was gone. He had no heart. You have to fight. And dudes would be like, man, but he would have got stabbed. He probably would have died. This is what happens in prison. This is the reality of prison. So, young man, if you're watching this video, think about that. This is how this stuff goes. This is how this stuff happens. And now you guys want to talk about the blood stuff, right? Just want to clarify that you know what goes on with the car and why nothing happened to Steve, because he didn't say nothing. If he would have said something, I don't care if he's in Canaan, the homies would have came together and they would have crushed Steve, man. Are there some undercover homies that are probably undercover homies? Yeah, there's some dudes in there that are undercover. They're undercover. There's dudes that are probably doing things that we don't always know about, right? Happens in everything. But anyway, we'll move to the blood stuff. Dude's like, oh, this dude's a goofball. I read some of the comments. Oh, man, he could never be Billy. He could never be. Let me tell you something. In prison, right? This dude didn't go to the next prison and tell the dude like, yo, my cellie made me. Boom. I don't think this kid ever told anybody any of that stuff until after he got out of prison. And I don't know who he talked about it to, who he shared it with, maybe his girlfriend, maybe his mom, his father. He shared it with us. I thought it was important for me to do that interview, to get that message across. Because you hear stories all the time where dudes tell you stories about, yo, this happened in prison, this happened over here. This dude actually came on and told you his story. It wasn't me telling you a story of what I seen or what I heard. It was him telling you what happened to him. So anyway, the kid's like, look, man, he gets cool with the black kid, man. The 9 tray, what was it, 9 tray? And the dude was like, yo, man, you want me to bring you home? You want to be a blood? Listen, back then, they used to just pull these dudes in. I've seen plenty of goofballs in different gangs, man. And I'm not saying that Matt's a goofball. But he isn't blood material, right? He's not that gangster type material. When you look at the kid and you see the shit that he's been through. And I think that when the dude was like, yo, look, man, you want to get down? You want me to bring you home? In his mind, he's like, I'd rather hang out with these dudes, man. Because these white dudes are vicious. Look what they did to me. In his mind, that's what he's thinking. And dude's like, yo, man, what's up? Yo, we're cool. Yo, ain't no problem. You're a down-ass white boy. I've seen black dudes do that with white dudes in prison. Yo, what's up? You ready? And dude gets involved, right? They're like, yo, here's all the literature. He's not a dummy. He's sitting in the hole. And I can assure you that in his mind, that at that moment in his life, he was scared, man. He was scared to be in prison. He was scared about what happened to him. He just wanted to do his time and be left alone. And sometimes you find dudes that just want to be left alone that come to prison and they're like, look, they get themselves a husband. They get themselves a husband. And we'll talk a little bit more about this at Big Sandy. I could bring Dog on to confirm this stuff. But you get these dudes that are like, look, man, I'd rather just be with this guy so that I'm not victimized and beat up and just be his girlfriend. Or look, I'd rather just get down with this gang right here, and if they make me put in some work, I'm going to put it in. Because I'd rather put in work on another dude than have work put in on me. That's how it works. So they grouped this kid up. All right, cool. He's sitting in the cell. He's an intelligent kid. And he's reading. He's reading everything about the Bloods. All the literature that old boy gives him. He knows his shit. Because when he gets to the next prison, regardless of what people say, when you're a white blood or you're a white Crip or whenever you're a white dude in a predominantly black gang, I've seen it. I've seen it. I lived it. I've seen how this shit goes. Dudes, there's always dudes in your group, man, that are like, yo, what's up with dude, man? So you got to know your shit. You got to know what you're talking about. That dude probably knew everything about the Bloods you could imagine. He knew everything, man, because he read all that stuff. He knew he had to be prepared. And when you come there and you're prepared, like, okay, the homie knows what he's talking about. But there's still people in your gang that are like, man, soft ass white boy, man. This nigga's soft, man. Fuck this dude, man. Dude ain't shit. They may not voice it, but that's how they feel. And all you need in that gang is the big homie in any gang to think you're an all right dude. I like this dude, man. Dude is all right. He's a cool dude. He's all right. He goes hard. That's all you need is the big homie to like you, or a couple of the upper class dudes to like you. And I've seen it in our car with Stevie Burke and Adam Oliveri, man. We bring dudes into the car because Stevie wanted numbers. He'd bring in some goofballs from Oklahoma, and I'm like, man, it's supposed to be an East Coast car. He'd bring in some goofballs, and some dudes be like, man, I like the dude, man. Dude's all right. And I think that's what happened with this kid. They brought him in. Dude liked him. He knew his shit when he got to Victorville. And like, nah, man, he's a homie, man. You do see white bloods in federal prison. You do see white Crips in federal prison. Not a lot, but you see them. And 99% of the time, when you see a white blood in federal prison, or a white Crip, or a white GD, or whatever they are, they get busy, man. Those are the white dudes usually that grew up in the hood and they get busy. These dudes from California, they probably don't even realize that Maine is a nice place. It's not a place where people are running around killing each other and living in the hood and growing. They don't know that. They probably just assume, man, white boy's down, man. And that's how he made it. That's how he became a blood. That's how it works. That's how prison goes, man. And make no mistake, like I brought my brother on here before, and I guess I could talk about him a little bit. My brother's a gangster, man. He's a blood. He's respected everywhere. Everywhere. And he gets busy, man. Like super busy. His name rings bells. They call him Clear Boy. So make no mistakes, man. Some white kids that get in gangs are definitely tough guys. And back to the penitentiary, right? Back to the whole getting locked in that cell, man, and there's no way out. You know, I used to say, I'm not going to be that dude out on the yard, right? Where they're like, hey, man, Chad was fighting, man. He was doing good. He was beating them dudes up until they stabbed him in the neck and they killed him. So some dudes are like, yo, I'm going to make this move right here. I'm going to do something to this dude in front of the police because I can't whoop him. If I can't whoop him, I'm going to do what I got to do and get the hell out of here. I'm not going to go out like a sucker and check in. I'm going to punch this dude in the face right here and we're going to get it in. And the cops are going to be here. And that's what happens. So how do you survive that situation, Chad? Dude taps you on the leg. You're in the cell all alone. He's got a knife. They got these little buttons in the cell too, right? And let me tell you how fake some of these dudes are. They'll put like bottle caps on their button. I'm a gangster. I ain't never hitting the button. I'm going hard. And some dudes will do that. Some dudes will go hard. But what I'm telling you is if a dude taps you on the leg and tells you, hey, man, come here. You got to make whatever decision you feel is best for you. My decision might not be the same decision as you. I'm not telling you to hit the button. I'm not telling you to fight until the dude kills you. I'm definitely not telling you to, do the old, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you what I would do. I'd try to play it off, man. I mean, maybe you'd be like, hey, man, how about tomorrow? I'm not in the mood tonight. No, I'm telling you, man, I'd get off there and try to be kind of real sneaky and sly. All right, man, hold on, man. Damn, bro, for real. Bang! Element of surprise, man. That dude wasn't expecting that little skinny white dude to punch him in the face. But you got to be ready, man. You made it to federal prison. You made it to a maximum security prison because of the choices that you made. And this is it. This is when this shit gets real. This is when this shit gets raw. That's what I would have did, man. I would have hit the dude right in the face. Bang! And the next thing, you got to be ready, man. What are you doing next? I'm grabbing for that knife. We might be wrestling around in here. Boom, bang, boom, 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 bang. And the police are going to hear it. And they're going to be there. It ain't going to take long. They'll be there. They'll hit the deuces. And usually when they come and there's a knife, sometimes they're hesitant. Sometimes some cops just run right in there. boom, grab you and do what they got to do. But I don't think Stevie was really going to stab the dude either. So sometimes you got to think about who the dude is. Who are you dealing with? Is this dude going to really stab you? Or is he just going to fight back now? Or maybe you win. Maybe you win the fight. Think about that. And then what do you do when you take the knife from him? Dude's like, man, I just wanted to go home. I wanted to see my family again. Sometimes you got to make a choice. I might have took the knife from him and, I mean, I had 40 years, so my situation was much different than his. But I would have definitely took the knife and stabbed him. If I could get the knife, I'm stabbing him. I'm not letting him stab me. And that's what it is, man. So I hope I answered some of the questions, man. What's it like to be a victim in federal prison? You might be thinking, damn, man, I don't never want to be a victim in federal prison. And you don't never have to be a victim in federal prison. You don't have to be a victim in state prison. You don't have to be that 21-year-old kid in a cell and someone wakes you up tapping you on the leg. You don't have to be money where you think you're cool with the dudes, man. These are my homies. I'm kicking it with the New Orleans dudes. What's up? Dude moves you in the cell, and the next thing you know, he's got you in the Heimlich maneuver. You don't have to be that dude. So what do you do then? You don't go out and rob banks, man. You get out the street. You start doing the right thing. Start changing your life. If you don't want to be that dude, change your life. And remember this when I tell you this, man. There's always someone bigger. There's always someone tougher than you are. Always. Always. There's plenty of dudes in prison tougher than me. Don't put yourself in that position, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, with respect, we're out.